YouTube fam. Hi and welcome to my vlog. So to all of you who have watched Chit Chat, thank you for watching. For those who have been watching me from Real Talk, thank you for watching. And this is my new vlog series, and it's a more candid series with me talking to you about some of my vulnerabilities, some of life lessons. But this is a new video. This is a get to know me tag. I posted on Instagram asking people to send me questions. So these are just the questions that they sent me. I'm gonna be looking over to my table because I did have them written down. I'm gonna start with the first question, which is, where am I from? Everybody always asks me this question, and I think the second or third question is the same thing, which is, how come your name is Cornelia Oduaya? And it doesn't sound like you're Nigeria, and plus you always speak Yoruba from time to time. Yes, I do speak Yoruba a lot on my shows. So my name is Cornelia Temitokwe Oduaya. I'm a myriad of, things. I am Calabar because my father is Calabar. I'm from Odupani local government in Calabar. I know that much. My name is Cornelia Oduaya because, first of all, my mom gave me the name. My father's family descended from Ireland, so my great grandfather was Oduaya. Actually, it was Dwyer. Oduaya means son of Dwyer. So yeah, from Ireland via Sierra Leone into Calabar they settled. And then the Yoruba, my grandmother on my mother's side gave me Temitokwe. She's Yoruba. My parents grew up in Lagos. That's just how we roll. What is the other question? Are you married or do you have a boyfriend? These questions do always pop up from time to time. So no, I'm not married. No, I haven't had a boyfriend. I'm single as a dollar bill, child. Another one asked me, when was your last relationship? Y'all be getting nosy. Last relationship was, damn. Like I said, I'm single as a dollar bill. I haven't been in a relationship in, I want to say about six years. Yeah. I dated an old friend. That didn't really work out. Yeah, and I haven't really met anybody. I do get random DMs though, but not from people I like. How did you get into TV with Ndani? So I used to write these articles. First of all, I got bored at my job. I used to work for a company. It was a gaming company, a board game company, and I didn't really like what I was doing anymore. I liked who I was working for. I liked what she represented. I kind of had a lot of freedom and flexibility to do what I wanted, but the subject matter was just not of any interest. And I was like, ugh, gosh, I have to leave this job. And there comes a time in your life where the subject matter at work just no longer inspires. So I knew that I had to leave, and I was pretty much pushing. This was almost near my 30th birthday, so there is a question about my age. I am 33. Let me just skip to that. And I'm not one of those people who have a problem telling their age. I feel like there are people who have problems with telling their age. I'm 33, child, cute and young. So I was basically done with work, so I took a sabbatical. And my boss was kind enough to say, look, I still want you to work for me, but you can work from wherever you want. And she kept me on the same salary. So she kept me, and I was working remotely. So that was one good thing. If you can negotiate that with your employer, always do that. So I had freedom, and I was still getting paid. Of course, that doesn't always last for long. So you have to find a way to kind of keep that consistent if that's what you want to do. But remote work is the sweetest thing. So whilst I was in New York, I got bored, and I wasn't going to be posting pictures of myself on Instagram every day. I was just like, picture. That's too much. So I actually asked people to follow me every Tuesday, and I was going to share an article that I read or anything that I find interesting. And then I didn't find anything interesting, and I was like, you told people to come to your page and there's nothing on your page. So I started writing basically relationship and like human interest stories from my perspective and from the African perspective, because I think there are just so many cultural dynamics that come into play when it comes to African relationships. And I just felt that in the waiting, you might as well learn, child, because there's some shit that be going down in these relationships. So I started writing stories about, what would you do if your mother-in-law came to the house and started taking shit from your freezer? What would you do if, your husband's brother smacked you or made an inappropriate pass? What would you do if, your mother-in-law told you to call your brother-in-law uncle and he's the same age as you. Like, just so many off the chain things that I'm just like, sorry guys, I'm recording from like a outdoor balcony thing. I'm not a nature girl, and girl, ladies and gentlemen, there are mosquitoes or bugs finishing me because I'm wearing shorts under this. So they're biting my legs, so pardon me if you hear a little smack. I can't help it. They're bugging. Okay, so I was bored of the subject matter, and I just decided, you know what, I'm gonna keep these stories going because I did start to get a reaction from people. So I would put it up every Tuesday, short stories, and sort of ask a question to my audience, like, you know, do you let your husband check the situation, or do you step in yourself? Crossing boundaries with people, friendship breakups, like things that I just felt like were life happenings and that people just were failing to talk about, or maybe not talking about it in the way that was relevant to me. So I started putting the stories out there, and some people cared, child. So yeah, that was that with Chit Chat, really. And it kind of developed into like an every Tuesday thing that people liked. So thanks for my day ones who were reading. And then somebody did ask why I stopped writing Chit Chat. Girl, I have had writer's block for a long time, and I wanted to focus on the show. So after the articles, I knew that I wanted to kind of develop a live show because I was limited by the characters on Instagram. So I felt like, you know what, this actually really needs to become something live. The next question is, how did you get into Ndani TV, and why are you no longer with Ndani? I was hired to host the show. It was a beautiful union, but season 2 didn't work out. Their plans just wasn't working out. So and it did take a long time to come out, I think. So yeah, nothing terrible, but stars were not aligned, so we had to go our separate ways. But it was a great experience working on the show because it was my first job on camera. Shout out to Jade Osiberu, who is the big dog at Ndani TV. I called her, we spoke, and it just kind of evolved from there. So Jade is really cool, and yeah, she gave me a good shot and an opportunity more so thanks, Jade. Hey. How did you lose your parents? Okay, no, I'm gonna answer where do you live, because this question, I swear, I have about 25 questions because I had to narrow it down so it's not so long. Where do I live? For those people who have been seeing me, you know, just out and about enjoying my life, it's just because I needed to de-stress from Lagos. I'm gonna put it this way, long holiday. I just needed a break, and I had goals to kind of travel and do other things and explore the media terrain in New York, and not just limit myself, because man, the struggle is real for media in Nigeria, and my show is not sponsored. It is all self-funded, thanks to family members and some of my well wishers, I would say, helped make, you know, Chit Chat happen. So it didn't come together because I have like a big brand supporting me. I do hope to have a big brand supporting me, but you know, I'm just building an organic following before you start to get so commercial. It shouldn't really be about money when you first start. So yeah, I live in Nigeria, but I'm just sitting in New York for a minute. However long a minute is, I don't have a timeline, but I'm here for a minute. So I want to kind of work both countries, both the US and Nigeria at the same time. So I can't really answer the question, have I moved back? I've moved for now, temporarily. Yeah, I own that. Feels good. How did you lose your parents? Oh yeah, so for those of you who don't know, I don't have parents because I never really knew my dad. But my dad died when I was 4. My mom died when I was 14. I just turned 14. My dad was police brutality. The story was a bit, you know, it took a while for me personally to get closure, because he was pretty much beaten to a pulp. And the story I heard was that they raided a bar and everybody ran, and my dad didn't run away, and they were questioning what he was doing at the bar, and it got into like obviously an altercation, and pretty much they beat him to death, because when they found his bones and his body, they were looking for him, like he never came home. They were looking for him and pretty much ended up going to look for him in a morgue, and he was dead. So he died at the hands of police brutality, which is pretty sad because I feel like, you know, my life has been affected by not really growing up with a dad. Yeah, that is one of my touchy moments because it affects the way I deal with guys. It affects the way I relate with people because I don't really connect with people because I've lost people in my life fairly young. So it's very easy for me to cap you like, girl, you gotta go, or dude, bye. Because folks in my family ain't loyal, they be dying. Anyway, yeah, so that's that with my dad. It was pretty sad because I think they pinned the story around drugs, and my dad was a captain, so he used to fly some prominent people back in the day. So I think when the police people realized that he was a captain, they couldn't take him to the hospital because they had brutalized him. I mean, he had broken ribs, a broken neck, like he was beyond recognition by the time they found him. So yeah, R.I.P. Dad, still my hero. And then my mom's was pretty painful because I've always known mom to be dad. So for me, when my mom died, it stung because my brothers were already in England. I was the only one left with her, and it was one of those things where it was a gas explosion, and for a long time I blamed myself for it because when you're cooking in Nigeria, you have to connect a cylinder to the gas stove. So I went to go and buy the gas. Usually I leave the gas downstairs, but that day I wanted to play hero and I brought the gas upstairs. And my mom connected it. We were cooking rice. Before you know it, the gas is leaking. I was in this living room watching a Whitney Houston video. I'll never forget. It was like Saving All My Love for You at the Grammys. She was singing, and I was a huge Whitney Houston fan, still am. And I was singing in front of the TV, and I was just thinking my mom could have just yelled like, you know, go turn off the gas. But, you know, she came past the living room where I was sitting, and then the phone rang, and it was her sister. And her sister had been dating this guy who ended up getting married. You know how these Niger guys do. So my mom had told me when we go home that, can you imagine your auntie's boyfriend is getting married? So I was like, what? So when the phone rang and it was her sister, me, I wanted to do busybody. I was like, auntie, what happened? Then my mom kept walking in front of me. Anyway, I'm walking behind her with the phone because I wanted to go back to Whitney Houston because I was like, I just wanted to get a small gist. And then as soon as my mom gets to the kitchen door, literally it's an explosion. It was like film trick. You know how you see it in the movies. And it was just boom, and even my feet were burning from the heat that came out of the kitchen. It was pretty like unexpected. I was shocked because I was like, what the hell just happened? So yeah, my mom came out. She was even helping us put off the fire, and that's when I realized that, oh shoot, my mom actually had burns, first, second and third degree burns all over her body. Rushed her to the clinic. She survived 10 days in the hospital. I'll do another video with my mom's how she died. I think there was there's deeper parts to how she died and how I emotionally only just healed. Because death can leave some scars, and I emotionally only just healed from the way I felt she let go. So pretty much, yeah, my mom died of a gas explosion. My father died at the hand of police brutality in Nigeria. They tried to pin a drug story. That was messy. My auntie was a newscaster at the time. She tried to find out what happened. Long story short, you know, in Nigeria, they always tell you don't try and dig in. But yeah, so I've always pretty much been independent. My mom raised us very independent and very like, cut your coat according to your size. Oh yeah, let's go. You know, things just had to be done. So I have a very, for lack of better words, impatient spirit. Yeah. So that is me in a nutshell and how my parents died. You appear very confident and sure of yourself. Are there times where you are not confident about what you're doing? Girl, child. Before this vlog started, I was like, oh. Like just even putting your face out there, coming and speaking to a world that doesn't necessarily really know you as much. It's a bit intimidating. And the next question says, for a plus size chick, did you fear judgment when you started working on TV? So I think that goes hand in hand with confidence. To be honest with you, I didn't fear the judgment of how I looked because, you know, I'm a thickums, I got big boobs. Like what I didn't like though was the emphasis the camera places on my breast. That was so annoying. Like I would try to get the best angles, still working on that, but nothing I could do about these boobies. yeah, so did I have any insecurities? Probably more about the content or my opinions being perceived a certain way. Because I think when stuff is edited, you don't get to see the full picture. You're dealing with recordings of like 60 to 90 minutes that are chopped up into like 25. So when I was with Ndani, I felt that I was edited a lot. And then even when I had Chit Chat, I felt like you still can't put everything good in. So sometimes when you expand on a conversation, you only hear like 20 minutes of it. You don't really get full picture. So editing can really make you insecure because people don't get your fullness. They don't get you 360. They just take that little segment. So I would say those are the only things that kind of shook my confidence a bit. In terms of how I look, girl, I think I'm pretty fly. So yeah, in terms of how I looked, no, I wasn't really bothered about being fat or being chubby or being a curvy, whichever word you want to use. That part of it didn't really bother me. I did want to get my angles though. Like, I'm being a curvy girl, trust me, you're gonna fight for those angles. If I had a fear of putting myself out there, I think that's almost the same question. How did I conquer the fear? Yeah, I think you just have to do it with the shaky voice and all. Like, I swear the producer of Real Talk probably was done with me because I was just like, oh, is it okay, is it okay? And sometimes you have to stop asking people if it's okay. It has to be okay for you. My standards are pretty high. I always want to make it perfect, but if you watch the first episode, don't watch the first episode. If you watch the first episode of Real Talk, you'll see my nerves. And the first episode was actually the episode that we recorded with Fowls, but that was the second episode that was released. So the first episode with Fowls was actually the first episode. I mean, my weave, I don't even know what happened to the weave. I was trying to be together and do babe. The weave, I don't know, I didn't know weaves could puff up, like the humidity, I don't know, just puffed up the weave. It was hot, I was outside, I had to do many takes. I didn't really get the production production is very repetitive. So I was just I'm not gonna lie to you, that episode was a cap. Why did you leave corporate? For media, I did leave corporate because I was tired of the subject matter. I just couldn't deal. Morgan Stanley. I worked for Citigroup, I worked for Morgan Stanley, and I worked at AIG. And I felt like, I just didn't feel like, I felt like I was dying inside. And I couldn't take one more day of like I just couldn't take one more day of it. And you just have to quit. So I'll put it this way. There are two ways I look at jobs. And I heard this from some podcast. I'm going to probably put the link in if I can find the podcast that described when you get a job. You hire the job, and you hire it for two reasons: financial reasons and emotional reasons. And financial reasons, obviously, to pay your bills and to, get by in life. But when it no longer challenges you on the emotional level, you're not growing, you're just like, you know what, you're a woman, you feel stifled, you feel like you've reached the quote-unquote glass ceiling, or you're whining about your boss every day. It's just like the subject matter just doesn't inspire. You leave. Now, I felt I left a little bit too early because I ain't save up enough dough, and sometimes you just never can save enough for the life that you want to live. So yeah, I just was not inspired by corporate anymore. What I will say about that is you better get ready to lose that financial stability, and boy, is that real. So if you're not ready for that, please don't quit your job. Like, stay, because you have to decide what's more important to you, whether you want the emotional fulfillment, which can be a broke life, or if you want financial stability. So if financial stability is important to you, stay in corporate. What keeps me going? I think life can be pretty hard sometimes. Like, life has thrown me some blows. I wasn't so comfortable with my living conditions. That unsettled me because where you lay your head at night, like, I can't even describe it. It's such an emotional touchy point for me because I was stressed to, like, past Shori Ori Wo, as in, when you just feel like you're in a space where, how did I get here? Like, how did life bring me down? It appears that, I had the show, I had, things going on for me, but like my living conditions were just not conducive for me. So that unsettled me, threw me off kilter. And I think that when you're going through issues in life, people say God. Yes, God. Yes. I don't want to not say God. But I think that I have an inner strength that I am not even aware of. I think when I feel that I'm sinking, I get into a zone where I can shurikini omafa, because I fear not fulfilling certain things or not listening to that inner thing, because I feel like my mom died very early. So time is like this for me, like hurry up, you have to do things, you have to make sure like you live, or you have to make sure you accomplish certain things by a certain time. So I live my life sadly on a rush timeline, because sometimes things do take time. So what keeps me going, for a lack of better words, is the, you know, fear of not making my mom proud, because my mom tried to, and I think everybody has that story, the mother that suffered. I still feel like in her grave. If you like, don't do what you're supposed to do. Yeah, so I think I do more want to make my mother proud. Like, I feel like she'll be cheering me on, and that's all I can do for the life that she was able to give me. So yeah, that's what keeps me going. And then, you know, the God factor, yeah, but yeah, I think I'll go with the fear of not disappointing my mother. When is the next season of Chit Chat? Honey child, I'm trying to figure that out. I am working on ideas. I want to change a few things. I watched the show. I criticized what I, critiqued rather, what I liked and what I didn't like. Yeah, so I'm bringing you new topics. I am planning to move the show around a little bit, so it might not be in the studio. Chit Chat is coming back, hopefully the end of this year. What month are we in? October. Yeah, so hopefully December, January, you get season 2 of Chit Chat. Who were your favorite guests on Chit Chat? You know what? Some people surprised me. Some people that I felt would be quiet weren't so quiet. I'm like, girl, you talk. And then some people that I expected to talk more maybe came a bit reserved, and I think a lot of my guests didn't actually know what the hell was going on. They came to the studio and they're like, where is this place? What are we doing here? Like, one of my favorite guests was Orade. Orade was the episode 2, and where she shared about her domestic violence situation. I think Orade was very candid. Orade came ready to pour out of herself, and I think her vulnerability was endearing. I really did like Eku. I think Eku came with spice. Who else did I really like on the show? Of course, my first episode, Sika and Wanu and Zedai. My first episode was probably the most fun. Yeah, I think the girls came ready, just the energy was different. I would like to be a part of the Chit Chat show. How do I get on? You know what, my selection criteria, if you email me, I'll put my info in the box and let me know, because I do want to start promoting businesses and doing different segments that sort of feature businesses that I kind of like, it's not a personal thing, but that I do feel are doing well, or that are of interest, or I feel are of interest to the people that might be watching. So you can email me, info@corneliaodwyer.com. I tend to select my guests based on how I feel they're going to speak, because camera time, man, camera time doesn't wait for you. Don't think you're articulate and then you get on camera and you're trying to say what you're trying to say what you're trying to say. Like, the audience doesn't have time. So I just feel like I assess it based on my audience doesn't have time. You have to be able to come and speak and not be umming and ahhing. Oh, look at that glow. You guys see that sunlight hitting me? Well, I'm gonna show you guys the view of where I'm vlogging from. It's pretty cool. I'm currently in Grenada at the moment, and it's so beautiful. I'm gonna do a vlog about the trip, because it's a wellness and yoga retreat, and I just felt like I needed to come and glow up in this. So it's a company called Noir that organizes lifestyle travel and wellness retreats. I'll put the link below, but I'm gonna do a completely separate vlog about my trip and what I've learned and why I came here and why I decided to live my best life. Like I just feel like I've been so unkind to myself for so long. I've been overstrong. What are you overstrong for? Girl, anywhere there's enjoyment, put my name down. I'm going for it, because I just feel like life is stressful enough. Why not just live? And for people who don't understand, like, it's not about work. If you want to work and 9 to 5 and 9 to 5, that's fine. I just feel like I want to live a good quality life. So whatever it is, I won't be lacking or running low. You know, because sometimes I feel like when you're in Nigeria, you're just always on low. Come on, like there's like a whole big world out there. So the last one is, how do I deal with my haters? I don't really want to spend too much time on this because I don't even really believe in haters, but I do believe that there are people that might be in your circle that no longer inspire you to grow. So you might have a couple of friends and it's not even beef. You guys are just going separate paths, and how do I deal? I just don't. I just distance myself, because I think, use distance to create respect. When you feel like somebody's doing you one kind, do you understand? You just distance yourself and just maybe not pick up the phone when they call, or not be around them as much, or maybe not reading the comments. So if there are any haters, I don't know. I'm not really a salacious person, but like, I don't really have gist. There's really no gist about Cornelia. Like, I'm not that interesting. I don't really think I have haters, but there are trolls that make silly comments. Like, I feel like there have been so many comments about me and the new host of Ndani. Like, they're already making it like a comparative thing. I'm like, let the girl live. Like, she's the new host. Like, I'm not begging for the job. Like, can she enjoy her work? Yeah, so that's pretty much it. This is the get to know me tag. If you have any other questions that I didn't answer, I didn't really answer it in any particular order, but this is my first vlog, so I'm gonna need y'all to cut me some slack. The next vlog will be my vlog about Grenada, and I'm going to also talk about shifting the culture of living the dream, because this living your best life, it comes at a price. So that's all from me. Subscribe to the tribe. Click the subscribe button. You're gonna get more candidates from me, more raw videos, and more in-depth I guess opinions on how I see things and how I see life. So if you've enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe, guys. Bye. So I'm gonna show you my view now. Like, it's so pretty.